All right, everybody.
Welcome to
Welcome to
Spooky
Spooky
Saturday.
Saturday.
Today we are
Today we
going
are
to
going
be
to be
talking about
talking about
the king of the
the king of the
monsters,
monsters,
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Today I have
Today
a
I
special
have a
guest.
special guest.
Welcome, Mr.
Welcome,
Hollow.
Mr.Hollow.
Hey, what's going on? How's it going, man?
Great. And
Great.
I thank you for coming.
And I thank you for coming.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad we
I
picked
I'm glad
Godzilla.
we picked Godzilla.
I am an old schooler,
I am an old schooler,
like in the
like
80s,
in the 80s,
watching the repeats
watching the repeats
of the 60s and 70s movies.
of the 60s and 70s movies.
Right, right.
When do you think was the first
When
time
do
like
you think was
you
the
saw
first
one of
time
the movies?
you saw one of the movies?
All right. So I'd say I was between the ages of 5 to 7. The very first Godzilla movie I saw was Return of Godzilla, aka Godzilla in 1984. And ever since then, I just fell in love with him.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
'84 one is a
the
classic.
'84 one is a classic.
Absolutely.
Do you
Do you
have a
have a
favorite like
favorite like
adversary? Mine is
adversary?
Mothra.
Mine is Mothra.
Oh, Mothra is awesome. I got a Mothra tattoo on my shoulder, so of course I absolutely love her. Adversary. I'd have to go with the ultimate adversary, and that's King Ghidorah. I mean, King Ghidorah is to Godzilla what Joker is to Batman. I mean, he's his ultimate.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to tell
I want
anybody
to tell anybody
listening,
listening
the names
the
can be
names can be
difficult.
difficult.
If some
If
people
some people
say
say
Ghidra,
Ghidra,
we might say
we might
Ghidorah.
say Ghidorah.
We're
Right.
not.
We're
No
not.
offense to
No
some of the
offense,
names are
because some of the
really
names are
hard.
really hard.
Right.
So,
So,
just a
just a
overview from the
overview
beginning.
from the beginning.
We have
We
the
have the
black and white
black and white
1954.
1954,
Mm-hmm.
And
and
it's the Japanese
the
take
Japanese take
on nuclear
on
weapons.
nuclear weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how
And
Godzilla
that's
was
how
made then.
Godzilla was made then.
It was pretty much a
It
horror
was pretty
movie,
much a
wouldn't you
horror
think?
movie, wouldn't you think?
I would say it is a horror movie because Gojira uh, was a metaphor for the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so, to convey what Japan went through using Godzilla, I think it could definitely be considered a horror movie. Now, later on in the franchise, not necessarily, but this specific movie, absolutely a horror movie.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
becomes
he
a hero
becomes a
after a while.
hero after a while.
Right, yeah. It's like a tonal shift. It's like he goes from being the destructor of mankind to like Superman,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the way
Now, the
I
way I
set it up,
set it up,
they have
they
a
have
couple
a couple
series.
series.
The first
The
is
first is
Showa, S
Showa,
H O
S H
W
O
A.
W A.
Yes, the Showa series.
That's like
That's like
1954
1954
to about
to about
1975.
1975.
Yeah.
Then it's
Then it's
the
the
Heisei
Heisei
The
series.
Heisei.
series.
Heisei.
Heisei. See,
Heisei.
Um, let's see.
see,
Then
then
I don't know if they
I
have a
don't know if
name
they
for the
have a
last
name for the
set.
last set.
Then you
Well,
have the Millennium series and then the
Right.
Legendary
right,
series.
Millennium.
Okay.
Okay,
That's I
Yeah.
that's
got the first
I
two.
got the first two.
Let's see.
Hey,
Let's see.
the Showa and the Heisei series are the best in my opinion. So I mean, after the Heisei series ended, once it started going into like Godzilla 2000, it was
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
went in a different
went in a
direction.
different direction.
it did. Yeah.
So
So
after
after
54,
54,
you had
you
a
had
movie
a movie
almost every
almost
year.
every year.
55.
55.
Then in
Then in
62 we got
62 we
King
got
Kong
King Kong
Oh
versus
yeah.
Godzilla.
versus Godzilla.
First time we saw
First time we
that.
saw that.
Yeah.
There was
There was
2 and
2 and
64
64
where we met
where we met
Mothra,
Mothra,
then
then
Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
They all fought each
They all
other
fought
by
each
that
other
point.
by that point.
Yeah. Right.
Then let's
Then
see, 65,
65,
66,
66,
67.
67.
Then in
Then in
69
69
they had All
they had All
Monsters Attack,
Monsters Attack.
Yes.
and
And
I like that
I
one
like
because
that
you
one because you
started to
started
get
to get
the the
the
Rumble
the Rumble
Royale
Royale
of
of
it all.
Right.
all
You
the.
started to get the kaiju smackdowns.
Now
Now eventually we'll get to
um,
um
what is it?
what is it?
Destroy All
Destroy All
Monsters.
Monsters.
Yeah.
That last 10
That
minutes
last
is
10 minutes is
probably
probably
the best with
the best with
everybody in it.
everybody in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah. You had creatures from other movies like Manda and Gorosaurus, and I mean, I don't think there'd ever be another Destroy All Monsters. I know some fans out there want, Legendary Pictures, the guys who are doing the MonsterVerse currently. I know they want them to make a Destroy All Monsters movie, but I mean, I don't think there'll ever be a Destroy All Monsters as good as the original Destroy All Monsters. And Destroy All Monsters, I mean, it's honestly, in my opinion, it's quite boring until that last bit where everyone shows up on the island and then, they're all like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then Ghidorah shows up out of nowhere and they're just all like, oh, F this
Right.
dude, Right.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah, some of the
monsters
monsters
you couldn't
you
probably
couldn't
do
probably
today
do
without
today
it
without
being
it
too
being too
silly,
silly
or
or
too
too
like you
like
could
you could
do like
do like
I hope they do
I hope they do
Mechagodzilla.
Mechagodzilla.
Oh,
They could make
I
it
They
hope
could
look
they
make it
do
really
look
good.
really good
Mechagodzilla as
today.
well, too.
But
But
like one time
like
he
one
fights a
time he fights a
lobster,
lobster,
the sea
the
monster
sea
Oh,
one.
monster one.
Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Okay, that to me is the most boring Godzilla movie in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
The absolute worst. Some people say Godzilla's Revenge. Some people say God or Son of Godzilla. No, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster is the absolute worst. Boring from start to finish. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
and
we
then
get
we get
to
to
the Son
the
of
Son of
Godzilla, which
Godzilla,
most
which
people
most
don't
people
like.
don't
What
like.
is your
What
take
is your take
on Miller?
No, I don't like it. That's kind of when they started trying to push away from all the metaphorical, atomic weaponry and all this and that, and try to push them into the kid friendly, superhero s type of creature and whatnot. And some of those movies are all right, but Son of Godzilla in particular, no, thank you.
Yeah, like
Yeah, like
when you get
when
him
you get him
dancing, you
dancing, you
Godzilla do a
Godzilla do a
dance.
dance.
It's
It's
funny, but
funny, but
if you,
if you,
I tell
I
people if you
tell
look
people
at the
if you look
black
at
and
the black
white,
and white,
he just
he
is
just is
going on a
going
rampage
on a
killing
rampage
people.
killing
it's
people.
it's a stark contrast. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. Godzilla's been portrayed so many different ways throughout his illustrious history. And, me personally, like, I don't mind the kid friendly superhero Godzilla, but my personal favorite is the Godzilla that is the metaphor for nuclear warfare, this and that, destroyer of mankind.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They
They
didn't
they didn't
stray away from
stray
also
away
doing
from also doing
environmental message.
environmental
Like
message.
pollution became a big
Right.
theme in
Pollution
some of
became a big
these,
theme in some of these.
Oh, absolutely.
and that's fine. But
And that's fine, but
Yeah, there's one of my favorite Godzilla movies that's in the Heisei series is Godzilla versus Biollante, and that's kind
yeah.
of
Yeah.
one of the environmental type of stories.
now I was looking
Now
at
I was
that
looking
one,
at that one
and I wanted to point
and
out
I
to
wanted to
people
point out to
that
people that there's
a
always
human
a
story
human
going
story
along
going along
For example,
For
in
example, in
the
the
89
'89
Godzilla versus
Godzilla
Valenti,
versus Valenti,
a stricken
a stricken
scientist
scientist
loses his daughter,
loses his daughter,
collects some
collects
of
some of
Godzilla's
Godzilla's
cells,
cells,
Mhm.
and combines
and
them with a
combines them with
rose
a rose
and his daughter's
and his
DNA.
daughter's DNA.
That's the summary
That's
of
the
that
summary
movie
of
to
that
show
movie to
how
show how
the stories
the
got a
stories
little
got a
complex.
little complex.
Right, and that is pretty out there, you know, when you think of a story, it's like, all right, this is what we're going to sell people on. This scientist dude's going to lose his daughter. He's going to mix some Rose DNA and Godzilla DNA with her and whatnot, and then she's just going to become this big old plant rose kaiju thing that's actually just a crocodile Godzilla weird hybrid looking thing. But honestly, like, if you can, like, some of the summaries may sound ridiculous, but if you can actually look past them and actually watch the movie, I think like Godzilla versus Biollante is probably in my top 5 favorite Godzilla movies.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
very
Yeah,
popular
very
one.
popular one.
absolutely.
There's
There's
many
a
a plot
plot
with aliens.
with aliens.
Oh yeah.
King
King
Ghidorah
Ghidorah
is
is
a
a
lot
lot
of
of times
times used by
used
aliens,
by aliens,
Yes.
and
and there's even
travel.
time travel.
Oh yeah.
Like they
Like
Oh
don't.
they
yeah.
don't.
I guess if
I
you
guess
have
if you
this many
have this many
movies,
movies,
they're gonna
they're
start to
gonna
get out
start to
there.
get out there.
All right. Well, the cool thing about Godzilla versus King Ghidorah to me was the time travel aspect, because what it was the aliens wanted to get rid of Godzilla so King Ghidorah could come in and just completely annihilate Tokyo and whatnot. So what they did was they removed Godzilla from 1954 so he wouldn't get hit with the nukes, and instead dropped the little baby Dorat things down there. So instead of Godzilla getting hit with the nuke and becoming Godzilla, Ghidorah is born. I just thought it was cool that Ghidorah pretty much got Godzilla's origin in that. I think it was a pretty cool way to tie the two together.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
people look at
look at like
the Marvel
the
universe,
Marvel universe,
and
and
they're not the first
they're not
to
the
do
first to
these
do these
complex
complex
stories.
stories.
Oh, absolutely not. They're not the first to do complex stories, and they're not the first to do a big shared cinematic universe, because Mothra, she's had her own movies. Rodan's
Yeah.
had his own movie. And then, of course, you know, King Kong's been up in the fray, and he's got his own movies. So, I mean, Universal Monsters and Godzilla were the top two, the first to do it.
Just some
Just
notes
some
here.
notes here.
Rodan's
Rodan's
appearance
original
was
was 1956.
1956.
Yes.
Mothra was 61.
Yes.
Then you got
Then you got
all the way
all the way
96,
96,
the rebirth
the
of
rebirth
Mothra
of
trilogy.
Mothra trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Then King
Then
Kong
King
Escapes
Kong
was
Escapes was
1967.
1967.
Oh.
And then
And then
he appeared,
he appeared once or twice.
Even
Even
in the
in
67,
the 67, they make a
mechanized
mechanized
King Kong.
King Kong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and King Kong Escapes.
But
But
today,
today,
Kong
Kong
Island,
Island,
Skull Island,
Skull Island, excuse me,
Skull
came out
Island,
in
yeah.
came out in
2017.
2017.
Yes.
And
The
the Godzilla
Godzilla
versus
versus King
King
Kong
is
Mhm.
is
in
in
2021,
2021, given
the pandemic
the
and everything.
pandemic and everything.
Yeah, given the pandemic and theaters start opening and whatnot, I have a feeling, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about the future of theater, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Did you
Did
like
you
or
like
see
or
Skull
see
Island?
Skull Island?
I have seen every Monster Verse movie from Godzilla 2014. I saw Skull Island. I saw the recent one, King of the Monsters. So yeah, I am ready for King Kong versus Godzilla. Or
Now,
Godzilla versus Kong, as it's titled.
right.
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 Just to point something out,
Just to point something out,
if it's true,
if it's true,
I heard that
I heard that
the King Kong
the King
in
Kong
Skull
in
Island
Skull Island
was
was
a
a
smaller
smaller
Kong,
Kong,
and on
E-
the
and
island
on the island
supposedly you could
Supposedly,
see
you could see
bones of what would
bones
be
of
his
what would be his
parents.
parents.
Yes, that is correct. The
Okay.
Kong in
Okay.
Skull Island is an infant Kong. He's a, as they would call, an adolescent. He's still growing. They even mention in Skull Island that he's still growing and whatnot. And yeah, there is a scene where you can see a graveyard of skeletons of Kong's parents and whatnot. Yeah.
Because I even
Because I
asked
even
in the
asked in the
beginning,
beginning,
how is that going
how
to
is
be a
that going to
fair
be a fair
fight?
fight?
Godzilla in the
Godzilla
new
in the new
universe
universe
is
is
taller than
taller than
buildings.
buildings.
you know,
you know,
so that
Well,
kind of
so that
answers
kind
that
of answers
question.
that question.
it kind of does. I think so. There's a thing that's discovered in the universe called the Hollow Earth. It's something that's been theorized by characters within the movies. And I believe it's the gateway for all the kaiju to come through, or titans as they're calling this, to come through. And I think Kong has been chilling all these years in the Hollow Earth, getting radiated, waiting for Godzilla. Now, that radiation may or may not give him a special ability. We never know. But I think that's what helps speed his growing process. He's just been chilling, getting radiated, waiting for Kong. I mean, waiting for Godzilla.
That definitely
That
makes
definitely
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And
And
for me,
for
the
me, the
last
last
movie,
movie,
uh,
uh,
what year?
what
That was
year? That was
King of the
King
Monsters
of the
of
Monsters was
2019.
2019.
Yes.
They
They
made to
made to
me
me
like
like
Rodan and
Rodan and
the rest
the rest
too
too
OP.
OP.
They were wiping
They were
out
wiping out
cities with their
cities with their
wings.
wings.
Like
Like
that's such a
You
that's
big
such a
know, I
jump
big
from
jump
the
mean,
old
from the
stuff.
old stuff.
when you watch the older movies and you see Rodan, like he is him flying over the top of cities and just wiping out buildings with gale force wind from his wings. That's nothing new with Rodan. And I think since these newer movies are trying to treat this as if these beings existed in our world, I think a creature the size of Rodan, if he just low swooped, he'd create enough force with his flying by and whatnot. I don't know if it would cause as much damage as it does in the movie, but I think it would cause a little bit of collateral.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm just
interested to
interested to
see
see
where they're gonna
where they're
go.
gonna go.
Like
Like
there was so
there
much
was so much
destruction in the last
destruction in the last
movie.
movie.
I want to
I
see how
want to
they
see how
set
they
that up.
set that up.
Right. I want to know how they set up Kong and Godzilla fighting. I want to know what the whole deal is there. Does Godzilla swim by Skull Island and Kong's just like, who the hell are you? What goes on there?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
because
don't
they don't
set up.
set up.
Well, they kind of
Well, they
do
kind of
that.
do that.
Godzilla's
Godzilla's
good
good
in the new
in
Right.
the new
universe,
universe,
and
Right.
and
Kong's also good
Kong's
in his
also good
movie.
in his movie.
He is, yeah.
He helps him
He
out.
helps him out.
So it'll be
So
interesting to see how they play the dynamic of both of these characters are good, but both of them are fighting whatever. And it's probably just like a territorial thing. One's a king of his island, one's king of the monsters. But I do think with uh, Godzilla versus Kong, I do think we'll have a definitive winner, and I do think they will team up against a threat.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Just
I wrote down a
I wrote
couple
down
of
a
the
couple of the
monsters real
monsters
quick
real
just to
quick, just to
throw them in
throw
there.
them in there.
Like we
Hmm.
Like
have
we have
Hedorah,
Hedorah,
Oh yeah,
Gigon,
Gigon,
Gigan.
Gigan. See,
Gigan. See,
Gigan. Yes.
Megalon.
Megalon.
Yes.
Then of course
Then of
Mecha
course
Godzilla,
Mechagodzilla,
Mm-hmm.
King
King
Caesar. We can't forget
Caesar. We
him.
can't forget him.
Oh yes. Underrated.
Um,
Um,
has to sing.
has
You
to
have to
sing.
sing a
You have to
song to
sing a
get him to
song to
come
get him to
fight.
come fight.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yep.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
My wife
My wife
asked me
asked
about
me
the
about
two
the two
fairies
fairies
that are
Mm.
with
that are with
Mothra.
Mothra.
Mm-hmm.
She thought it was a
She
joke.
thought
I
it was a
said,
joke. I
no,
said, no,
that's how it
that's
goes.
how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Two little twin fairies from Mothra Island, and they sing to her, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta save the world, Mothra."
I hope they
I
keep
hope
that.
they keep that.
Um, let's
Um,
see. We got
let's see. We got
Titanosaurus?
Titanosaurus, yeah. Not a lot of fans like him. I don't mind him.
No.
No,
I don't mind him.
I had no problem.
I had no problem with him.
And then
And then
Mothra
Gave
to a
birth to a
lot
lot
of
of little babies.
Yeah.
in her time.
Mothra's been reborn several times.
We have
We had
Batra.
Batra.
Oh, yes.
That was a cool
That was a
one.
cool one.
Batra is amazing.
Space Godzilla,
Space Godzilla, which is technically different.
It was different. And, you know, I originally heard that that movie was going to have Godzilla, Space Godzilla, and Mecha Godzilla in it. But they were all like, no, that's way too many Godzillas. And so we got that other thing called Mogira, which was from a different movie outside of the Godzilla franchise. I can't exactly remember what it's called off the top of my head. But yeah, so we got that instead. And Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, I'd probably put it somewhere on my list of least favorite Godzilla movies. Probably not in top 5 least, but it'd be somewhere in top 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it was a little too weird at the time.
Crystals
coming off of them.
Right.
Let's see. We have Destroyer.
We have Destroyer.
Oh yeah, Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Orga.
Orga.
Yep, that's in Godzilla 2000. Yeah.
And by the way, for anybody, Godzilla 2000 was made in the year 1999.
Yeah, right.
They just gave it
a new
hype name.
You know.
Right.
In Godzilla
Tokyo SOS.
Yes.
Mothra was actually killed by Godzilla,
leaving
two
twin
babies.
Yep. As she always does.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now
here's one that
threw me off. Shin
Godzilla.
Oh.
I couldn't wrap my head.
Basically, what sold me on Shin Godzilla was the fact that it was Japan trying to remake the original Gojira, but with a theme that would fit current time. So instead of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they decided to inspire Shin Godzilla off of the Fukushima nuclear disaster and whatnot. And you know, I have a love-hate with Shin Godzilla. I think a lot of the politics in the movie is boring as fuck. And Shin Godzilla's design is very controversial. What Shin Godzilla can do in the movie, shooting off the plasma phasers from his back and his tail, you know, that's kind of controversial too. And, you know, on one hand, I'm a guy who likes different for the sake of different, so I didn't mind it for that. But the Godzilla fan of me is just like, this ain't really Godzilla because he's got all these crazy new power-ups and it's just all, you just need to keep it basic and simple with him, you know? You don't need to go over the top, blah, blah, and whatnot.
Yeah, for
anybody who might not know,
that's Godzilla who's red on the
inside.
Yeah, he looks like
red bursting out.
Yeah, he looks like a mutated zombie Godzilla, kind of.
Yeah, but like you said,
you do have to
try different.
Yeah, you do.
Get stale.
Especially, you know, because, I mean, yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, 50 million different things. Like I said, Godzilla's been portrayed in several different ways. So, I mean, you got to do something different, keep things fresh and whatnot. So, you know. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. With Shin Godzilla's case, it wasn't bad, but it's not for me.
A good example
of
not working. The American
1998
Oh.
movie.
Yes.
With Matthew Broderick.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing that in theaters actually. You know, as a kid when I saw it, because I was maybe about like 7 or 8. I didn't really think anything of it, you know. I figured maybe it was just like an offspring or Godzilla. And then like as I got older and understood like movie remakes and reboots and this and that, and then I was just all like, you know, Honestly, if I'm looking at it as a giant creature movie, I don't think it's that bad. I wouldn't consider it Godzilla. As long as I don't consider it Godzilla, even though it is Godzilla, I can handle it. It's not a bad monster movie, but it's not Godzilla. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They changed the look too much.
They did. He's like a Velociraptor iguana hybrid, you know. It's like it's not him. He doesn't have his atomic breath. Nothing about him is Godzilla.
Yeah, they went too much on the human story.
They did. They were too inspired.
Breaking up.
They are too inspired. They were too inspired by Jurassic Park, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites here.
Let me make sure I get it.
The
1973 Godzilla versus
Megalon.
Oh, Megalon.
People in the
underwater city
mad at humans for
nuclear testing.
Yeah.
Send
Megalon.
Then joined by Gigan.
Yeah.
Gigan.
You're good. Don't even worry about it.
But that one has Jet
Jaguar in it.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because originally, so Toho, the creators of Godzilla, they had this contest thing for kids to create their own superhero or like their own thing, superhero creature, whatever, and it was going to fight Megalon. And so they landed on Jet Jaguar, and you know they were getting ready to film, and they were like, "Oh, this ain't going to sell. Throw Godzilla in there," and so it pretty much just became Godzilla versus Megalon instead of Jet Jaguar versus Megalon.
Yeah, you could
tell it was two different ideas.
Right.
Put together.
Right.
Which isn't
far off from many horror movies, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, definitely.
You know, Freddy versus
Jason, you could tell us a lot of ideas
pushed together.
Freddy versus Jason. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie, but yeah, it was definitely way too many ideas. It was ideas that it was like they were leading towards something cool, and then it just went nowhere, and then it was just this and that. It was just a mixture of a bunch of different shit.
I
hear you now.
Huh.
In
one of my other favorites here,
in 1991,
Godzilla versus King Ghidorah.
Yeah, King Ghidorah again.
Time-twisting alien.
Yeah.
Go back to World War II.
And replace
Godzilla's
pre-mutated
form.
Yeah.
With three
cute fuzzy. They're Ghidorahs.
Yeah.
You know.
That turned
into King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
And
Godzilla defeats King
Ghidorah, but is brought back in
mecha form.
Oh yeah. Jesus.
Just reading
it is awesome.
You know, it's those kind of things are what make Godzilla cheesy, but at the same time awesome. It's just like, all right, we've got this three-headed dragon thing fighting Godzilla. Godzilla's going to kill it, and then we're going to resurrect it with a mecha form, you know? It's just like...
Yeah, I
like the fact that Godzilla rips off one of the heads.
Oh, yeah.
In a previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the mecha is metal pieces on King Ghidorah.
Pretty much, and it's all controlled by a human and whatnot, and...
Yeah,
it goes all the way back to Monster Zero.
Oh yeah, Monster Zero.
You know where
the outer
space thing is really touched on.
Yeah, I actually, you know, Godzilla versus Monster Zero, that whole aspect, I mean, of the aliens coming and taking Rodan and Godzilla out into space and on another planet and whatnot, and then they fight Monster Zero, King Ghidorah, and then you find out that the humans were just all like, "Oh, we got you. Now we're going to use Rodan, Godzilla, and Ghidorah to destroy your city."
You can't make
this stuff up. It's amazing.
60s or 70s. I don't remember. I think Monster Zero was sometime in the 60s. It had to be. It had to have been. That's when sci-fi going to space was starting to get popular and hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's see some of the other good ones. In 1992
is
is
Godzilla
Godzilla
versus
versus
Mothra,
Mothra,
Oh yeah.
where
Mothra
Mothra
is
is
joined
joined
by her
by her
brother.
brother,
Mm-hmm.
Batra.
Oh yes.
And not many people might not know that's where Batra comes from.
Oh yes. Um, I want a new Mothra movie set in like the current like Godzilla versus Kong, King of the Monsters, Skull Island. Like I want a new Mothra movie, and I want to see a new modern update on Batra. I think that would be pretty cool. I would honestly. Okay, so I have this idea for a Mothra story, right? And I was going to use Batra in it, and it was going to be sort of like a Disney movie, kind of, because Mothra is like a lighthearted character, so it'd be kind of like Disney, but with a more adult HP Lovecraft type of theme. And Batra was just going to be like this. I had the design inspired by Jeff Goldblum's The Fly, and it was just going to be this grotesque. Yeah, it was just this grotesque looking, just fun. And it fed off all the negativity in the world and this and that, and grew from the larva into. Yeah, it was. If I ever get around to writing it, but if not, at least it's out there on here.
No,
I would definitely love to see that.
Now,
Now,
this is a
this is a
good
good
one
one
here,
here,
just
just
to
to
read out.
read out.
In
In
1995,
1995,
it's
this
this
is
is
Godzilla
Godzilla
versus
versus Destroyer.
Destroyer.
Yes.
Godzilla's heart
goes into
goes into
nuclear
nuclear
meltdown.
meltdown.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
Baby
Baby
Godzilla
Godzilla is now Godzilla
Jr.
Jr.
Yep.
and
and
Junior is
Junior is
defeated,
defeated,
sending
sending
Godzilla
Godzilla
into grief
into
and
grief
rage
and rage
to save his
to
son.
save his son.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice
It's a
touch.
nice touch.
Oh yeah, it is. Destroy. A lot of people. I notice a lot of fans really like Destroya. I can understand. He's a pretty cool design, but I mean, he's still not King Ghidorah. I mean, at the end of the day, Destroya didn't defeat Godzilla. Godzilla's nuclear meltdown killed Godzilla. Everybody likes to tout. I know some fans like to tout Destroya killed Godzilla, blah blah blah. But if you watch the movie, I'm like, no, he didn't kill Godzilla. The nuclear meltdown in Godzilla killed Godzilla.
Right.
Right.
And hey, they did it in a very touching way. The composer for the Godzilla movies, Akira Ifukube. That was the last Godzilla soundtrack he produced, and the last thing he produced was the music that plays as Godzilla is going into meltdown. And I think it's actually not only a very touching piece, but very haunting to know that it was the last thing he did, because it was like Godzilla dying, and then the composer who did all this awesome music for it and whatnot. And it's just like, it's interesting.
No, the music is
the
sometimes
music is
overlooked.
sometimes overlooked.
The music is definitely overlooked. Godzilla's theme is honestly, like, to me, it's up there with like the Imperial March or like John Carpenter's Halloween theme.
Definitely.
Definitely.
All right.
Let's see. This one got me.
In
In
2002,
2002,
Godzilla
against Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla
gets
gets
remade,
built around the
bones
Yeah.
of the one
of Godzilla killed
in the 54
in the
movie.
54 movie.
Yes.
I think
That's an awesome callback.
It is a pretty cool concept that they would build Mechagodzilla around the bones of the original 54 Godzilla and whatnot. The movie itself, I mean, I could take it or leave it, but just the concept of Mechagodzilla being built around the original Godzilla was pretty cool. And then it just gets all haywired and whatnot because it's having like PTSD and whatnot. Yeah.
Now, one I wanted to
give a touch on
is Final Wars.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The way I wrote it is aliens,
aliens,
monsters,
monsters,
super kung fu,
super kung fu,
Super
and superpowers.
and superpowers.
It
That pretty
I've
much
heard
sums it all up.
it's like they
It's like
took the
they took
Matrix
the Matrix
and a Godzilla
and a
movie.
Godzilla movie.
It's like Matrix, and they're all in like, okay, so you got these aliens who are like Matrix characters clad in like X-Men uniforms, like the leather X-Men uniforms from the original movies and whatnot.
Oh, I think you froze up.
Zilla.
Oh, there you go. You froze
They
up.
just launch him in Australia, and Japanese Godzilla walks up, and he's just all like, "Fuck you," and it was over in like 5 seconds.
Right?
Right?
For anybody who knows what Dragon Ball Z is,
For anybody who knows what Dragon Ball Z is,
they have those kind of powers in that movie.
they have those kind of powers in that movie.
Yeah, they're like Saiyan aliens.
Yeah, they charge up and
And
They charge up.
actually, if I remember correctly, if I am right on this, I believe the aliens in Final Wars are the same species of aliens from Godzilla versus Monster Zero.
that's correct. Yes, good
That's
call.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
good call.
Yeah.
Nice callback for sure.
Nice callback for sure.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Now,
let's see.
let's see.
If they go
If
long
they go
enough
long enough
with the new movie,
with the new
line,
movie line,
Right.
do you
do
think
you
they'll
think
get
they'll
to the
get
point
to
of
the
something
point
like
of something
Final
like
Wars
Final
on
Wars
on a smaller
on a
scale?
smaller scale?
Well, that's just like I was saying earlier, that fans want Destroy All Monsters, and then I don't think there'll ever be another Destroy All Monsters like Destroy All Monsters. But I do think it is highly possible that if the current universe of Godzilla movies with Skull Island and all that, if they do continue, I could see a Final Wars Destroy All Monsters movie happening, just because, I mean, when you look at King of the Monsters, they introduced all those new titans, like that spider crab looking thing, and then they had that half mastodon, half gorilla looking thing and whatnot. So you got all these new creatures coming out of nowhere. So I could see a Final Wars Destroy All Monsters type of scenario happening.
I couldn't agree more.
I couldn't agree more.
Now with
Now
the
with
state of the world,
the state of the world,
would you be
would you
okay
be
if
okay
they
if they
went to like
went
VOD
to like
with the new
VOD
movies?
with the new movies?
Like we're dealing
Like
with
we're
Halloween?
dealing with.
Let me tell you, I have huge anxiety. I don't do well in crowds and whatnot. I make sacrifices for things like theaters and concerts. But honestly, if I have the chance to see any upcoming release from the comfort of wherever I am, eating the food that I want to eat, not having to spend a pretty penny on anything, then yeah, I wouldn't mind VOD.
Ham, which I got kids.
And which I got
and
kids, and
The, going to the theaters.
going to the theaters a fortune.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
I like the experience.
I like
with
the
big
experience with the big screen.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you get the big screen and whatnot, but I mean, like I said, if I can bypass a crowd, bypass all the expensive BS, I'll do it.
screen. Well, pretty soon.
Well, pretty soon, I don't think we're gonna have much of a choice.
Yeah, I don't think we will either.
And if I gotta
And
see,
if I gotta see the new Halloween Home,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, man, I'm okay with that too. But to switch subject onto Halloween, I am pissed off with that teaser trailer for Halloween Kills. I thought it was completely lackluster. I need a full trailer.
Yeah.
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 I see what
I see what they were trying to do,
and
and it worked because it got everybody talking.
It did, and that's the whole point of a teaser, is to tease and get people talking. But, I feel the real juice of it is the climax, when the fire truck's going by and they're all like, oh, let him burn, blah, blah, blah. And I'm all like, all right, well, there's that little bit of juicy detail. But then we just got all this, and I mean, I guess we got a nice little shot of, Michael looking to the side and whatnot. But I mean, it's like we've been waiting this long. It's like right now with getting back to the Godzilla stuff, I'm still waiting on a trailer for Godzilla versus Kong, It's like, shit.
We're very close.
And it's like, damn this pandemic, because
we're very close.
Yeah, but it's like, damn this pandemic, because if this pandemic hadn't happened, we would have seen the movie back in March, So it's like,
yeah, I forgot it was gonna be just.
Yeah, I forgot it was gonna be just right there.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to come out March, and then they pushed it to May, and then they pushed it to November, and then they pushed it to next year. Just like, come on.
Yeah, the last.
Horror movie.
I think was The Invisible Man.
Yeah, and I still haven't seen that yet, but I hear it's pretty good, so I'll have to check it out.
I still have to check it too.
I still have to check it too.
With everything going on.
Yeah, right.
But there's rumors.
That
in movie
is
in the dark
universe.
Hey, you know what? I don't care what universe it's set in, as long as it means that we're one step closer to finally getting that Creature from the Black Lagoon remake off the ground, because that is what I'm waiting for. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Aside from, so there's my two favorite Universal monster characters are Gilman from Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then Bela Lugosi's Dracula. And we've had Dracula and Frankenstein, even Wolfman remade 50 million ways till sunrise. Where's a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake? Let's get a new. Hell, I'll even take a new Jekyll and Hyde remake, But
Yeah,
I definitely need to get Creature from the Black Lagoon.
The Gilman is
probably my second favorite.
Yeah.
My top is
Bride of
Frankenstein.
Oh, Bride of Frankenstein, absolutely.
Something
about
a powerful woman.
I want to see that.
Right, yeah.
And I think the last
time they did a Gilman
was the
Monster Squad.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and then they kind of did a kind of similar story with The Shape of Water.
True.
Yeah. But it's not the Creature from the Black Lagoon, though. I feel you could tell a really compelling story with the new modern technology we have of today, And, I would do a mix. I don't want to do like a CGI Gilman. Use a little bit of CGI, but keep it mostly like practical effects and whatnot. If there's something you have to do that you're not capable of doing with practical effects, then throw in a little bit of CGI. But overall, keep it practical.
Yeah, to bring it
back to Godzilla,
it's
funny we went from
a man in
a suit
yeah.
to what it looks like today.
Right, yeah.
You
couldn't get away with the suit thing, but you do know you're looking at CG.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that you could still use a person in a suit and enhance the movements with CGI, or enhance the design with CGI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if we were to recommend to somebody
who
hasn't seen any Godzilla movies,
what would be like
your top to suggest to somebody.
Okay, my top three would obviously have to be the original Gojira, 1954. Godzilla versus Mothra, the 1964 or 2, whichever one it was. I believe it was 4. And probably Godzilla versus King Ghidorah from 1991. That way you get a little bit of everything. You get an introduction to, Godzilla and the destroyer of mankind from the original, and you get the taste of that, mature theme and symbolism. And then you get introduced to, King Ghidorah aside, Mothra would be my favorite adversary. I mean, I've got a Mothra tattoo. Mothra is just like, when it comes to Mothra, I always root for Godzilla unless Mothra is involved. And then I always root for Mothra. And, so you get a taste of Mothra and that. And then with Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, you get a little taste of the weird sci-fi aspect of Godzilla movies. So you get a little bit of everything,
Perfect choices.
Oh, yeah.
I would say
definitely the original.
Absolutely.
And I'm not
going to pick out certain ones, but
King Ghidorah and Mothra are some of the best. And for fun, either destroy all monsters or final wars.
Yeah.
So you can
see everybody.
If you want something that's got, like a pretty decent story, watch the original Godzilla or something like Godzilla versus Biollante. If you want nothing but if you don't care about the story and just want to see kaijus tear each other apart and whatnot, Destroy All Monsters or Final Wars.
Exactly. There's
even a couple psychedelic ones in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Godzilla versus Hedorah, the smog monster. That was a straight acid trip from hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and
wrap us up for tonight.
For sure.
I would love for you to come back on and we could pick a new subject.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come back on again. I had a really fun time discussing all this stuff. And again, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity, inviting me on, because like I said, I had a blast. It was good to finally meet you, met on Twitter. We barely talk, every now and then. And so it's just all like, hey, do you want to do this? And it's all like, yeah, let's actually get to know each other and talk.
Exactly. This
is proof
how strong the horror community
is.
Definitely.
I've met a lot of
good people like yourself.
Just talking about
horror.
Hey, man, it's weird how something that like that, and it's like when I look at horror, it's just all like people ask me why do you like horror? I'm like, because it sheds light and everything on a touchy subject, a subject that everybody goes through, because everybody goes through death, be it natural, somebody's murder, whatever the case may be. And so it's just like, and it could be, you're a fan of blood and guts, or you're a fan of like just the slasher, or whatever the case in general, not necessarily whatever it may be. But horror, it's surprising how many people can come over blood, guts, death, and all, or paranormal exorcisms, whatever it may be.
Well, we're definitely going
to come back, man. I'm going to have you back, and we're going to touch on some horror in some way.
We will, absolutely.
So
till next time, everybody.
Spooky Saturday. Thank you
to Mr. Hollow for coming.
Hey.
You an awesome guest.
Thank you.
All right, so till next time, everybody. Have a good night.
Later.